Okay, this tutorial is going to get into still section 5.4, but we'll be looking at multiplying of radical expressions and a few examples of that. Okay, so first of all, when you multiply a radical expression, you multiply the radical parts together and you multiply the numeral parts together. Okay, so what that means, if you're doing two monomials or two just simple radicals together, we have to multiply these two parts together, and we have to multiply these two parts together and leave them under the radical sign. So it would be 3 times 5, which would equal 15, root 2 times 15, which is root 30. And then we can check and see, well, can we reduce root 30? Can we take a perfect square out of there? No, we can't, so that would be as simple as that one would get. So let's take a look at the next one here, B. Okay, this would be 2/5 times negative 3. Well, that would be like negative 6 over 5. And then it would be like 10 times 15 under the root sign, which would be root 150. And in this case, yes, we can take out a perfect square there. 25 goes perfectly into 150. So that would be like negative 6 root 5, or 6 over 5. And this would be the root of 25 times 6 would give us 150. Take out and square root the 25, so this would be like saying negative 6 over 5 times 5 root 6. These would cancel and we would get an answer that's equal to negative 6, root 6. And there's a couple examples of monomials. Now you can do all kinds of multiplying with radicals similar to what you would do in normal algebra. Here's an example that has a monomial and a binomial in radical form here. So we would have to do a multiplication here and a multiplication here as well. Now, I find it sometimes easier to simplify these. These can be simplified, these radicals in here, to make it an easier multiplication. That's what I'm going to do first. So that's negative 3 root 5. I kind of scribbled around there a bit. And in here, in this brackets, we have 4. And this would be like 4 times 5 under the radical sign. Minus 2, and this would be like 9 times 5 under the radical sign. Okay, so if I were to do that, I would get 4 times 2 root 5 minus 2 times 3 root 5. And I can see I'm going to simplify this quite simple. Say 8 root 5 minus 9 root 5. Or sorry, 6 root 5. 2 times 3 is not 9, it's 6. So we can subtract there. It's in brackets, so we can do that. And we've got negative 2 root 5. Multiply out our parts. Negative 3 times 2. Negative 2 is 6. And 5 times 5 is root 25. And the root of 25 is 5, so we just have 6 times 5, which is equal to 30. That's an example of where we could do some simplifying before we get into the multiplying part of our question. And my last question here on the other side is a complex one, a real complex one, in fact. It's got FOIL method being used here. And if you look at it, I've got two binomials multiplied together there, and a binomial there squared. So we're going to have to work this one out. So let's do that. If you remember FOIL method, this would be, I'd have to multiply these first two, so this would be 2 root 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, which you know is going to be 5, so you could write 2 times 5 there if you like. Okay, and then we'd have 2 times 2, which is 4, root 15. And then we'd have minus root 15. And then we'd have, for the last one, negative 2 times root 9. Negative 2 times root 9, which is going to be a 3 anyway. Okay, and in this case here, with the square roots, you have to be careful that you remember which one's which. So this one's going to be, if we're going to look at it in terms of the FOIL method here, we're going to have to take the square of the first term here. So that would be 9 and root 5 times root 5 is going to be root of 25, which is going to be 5, so this will be 9 minus, and keep it all in brackets, 9 times 5. Okay, and the square of the second one is going to be negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, and root 3 times root 3 is actually 3. So this is going to be plus 4 times 3. And then to get the middle term, we have to multiply them out and multiply it by 2, because it's going to be double the middle term if you remember how to do binomial squares. So this would be root 6, or 6 root 15 times 2, and negative actually. Negative 6 root 15 times 2. So that would be negative 6 times 2 would be negative 12 root 15. And now we can simplify them. So this would be 2 times 5, which is 10. And this is going to be plus 3 root 15. And this is going to be negative 2 times 3, which is negative 6. This is going to be minus, all here, this would be 45 plus 12, minus 12 root 15. So this is going to be 4 plus 3 root 15, minus, well this is going to be in here bracket-wise, 57 minus 12 root 15. So this would be 4 minus 57. In our case, it's going to give us a negative 53. And 3 root 15 minus a minus 12, what root 15 would be like adding it. So that would be positive 15 root 15. And there's an example of some multiplying problems that you might have for radicals. In our next tutorial, we'll look exclusively at division.